Good morning, live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanks President Trump for his personal commitment to robust ties as India and the US agree on a framework for an interim trade agreement. Prime Minister Modi said to embark on a two-day visit to Malaysia, focus on strengthening comprehensive strategic partnership. India condemns Islamabad mosque bombing, rejects Pakistan's external involvement claims, says the country blames others for homegrown ills. Donald Trump signs order warning tariffs on nations doing business with Iran, US and Tehran to hold next round of talks next week. And in cricket, India to begin its T20 World Cup title defence as it faces United States in Mumbai. The United States and India have announced a framework for an interim agreement on reciprocal and mutually beneficial trade, marking a significant step towards advancing the broader US-India bilateral trade agreement negotiations launched by President Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi in February of 2025. As part of this framework, United States will slash reciprocal tariffs on Indian goods to 18%, providing a huge market opportunity in key sectors such as textiles and apparel, leather and footwear, plastic and rubber products, organic chemicals, home decor, artisanal products and select machinery in the world's largest economy. Additionally, tariffs will go down to zero on a wide range of goods, including generic pharmaceuticals, gems and diamonds and aircraft parts, thereby further enhancing India's export competitiveness and Make in India. India will also get exemptions under Section 232 on aircraft parts, tariff rate quota on auto parts and negotiated outcomes on generic pharmaceuticals, leading to tangible export gains in these sectors. At the same time, the agreement reflects India's commitment to safeguarding farmers' interests and sustaining rural livelihoods by completely protecting sensitive agriculture and dairy products, including maize, wheat, rice, soy, poultry, milk, cheese, ethanol, tobacco, certain vegetables, meat, and other items. The two sides also agreed to significantly increase trade in technology products, including graphics processing units used in data centers, and to expand joint technology cooperation. This agreement also will help India and the US remain focused on working together to further deepen economic cooperation, reflecting shared commitment to sustainable growth for the people and businesses. Prime Minister Modi on Saturday hailed the India-US interim trade deal, terming it as a great news for both India and the United States, thanking US President Trump for his commitment to robust ties between India and the US. Prime Minister says this framework reflects the growing depth, trust and dynamism of India-US partnership. In a social media post, Prime Minister said the agreement strengthens Make in India by opening new opportunities for India's hard-working farmers, entrepreneurs, MSMEs, startups, innovators, fishermen and others. It will generate large-scale employment for women and youngsters. PM Modi further said that India and the United States share a commitment to promoting innovation, and this framework will further deepen investment and technology partnerships between the two nations. He said this framework will also strengthen resilient and trusted supply chains and contribute to global growth. Prime Minister emphasized that India moved towards building a Viksit Bharat. The country remains committed to building global partnerships that are future-oriented, empower our people and contribute to shared prosperity. And hailing the joint India-US statement, India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal in a social media post says, and I quote, "Under the decisive leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India has reached a framework for an interim agreement with the US. This will open a $30 trillion market for Indian exporters, especially MSMEs, farmers and fishermen. The increase in exports will create lakhs of new job opportunities for our women and youth, unquote. And hailing the announcement of India-US interim agreement regarding reciprocal and mutually beneficial trade, India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said India remains committed to negotiating broader US-India bilateral trade agreement. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in a social media post also hailed the development, saying the framework for an interim agreement will realize a mutually beneficial India-US trade partnership. Minister Jaishankar further says the framework will ensure greater market access and opportunities for our exporters. He added, new vistas have opened up that will further promote Make in India. Moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a two-day official visit to Malaysia in just a short while from now. During the visit, Prime Ministers of India and Malaysia will hold bilateral discussions to review progress under comprehensive strategic partnership. Here's more. And India on Friday strongly condemned the suicide bombing at a mosque in Islamabad, expressing condolences for loss of lives and rejecting Pakistan's attempt to blame external forces for the attack. In an official statement issued on February 6th, India said the bombing at Islamabad Mosque was condemnable and extended sympathy to the victims of their families. The statement added that it was unfortunate that Pakistan, instead of addressing deep-rooted issues within its own social fabric, continued to delude itself and others for its homegrown ills. India categorically rejected any allegations levelled against it, calling them baseless and pointless. On Friday, an attacker opened fire at the gates of Mosque in Islamabad before setting off a suicide bomb and killing at least 31 people in the deadliest attack of its kind in Pakistan's capital in more than a decade. Meanwhile, Islamic State claimed responsibility for the deadly attack in Islamabad. Islamabad had witnessed another suicide attack on November 11th, which killed 12 people and injured 27. Pakistani authorities had said an Afghan national carried out that attack. Prime Minister Modi will embark on a two-day official visit to Malaysia in a short while from now. During the visit, the Prime Ministers of India and Malaysia will hold bilateral discussions to review progress under a comprehensive strategic partnership.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Malaysia will be his third visit to the Southeast Asian nation and the first since Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's state visit to India in August 2024, when bilateral ties were elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership. With a diverse agenda on the table, the visit will set the roadmap for future engagement between the two nations.
PM will hold bilateral discussions with the Prime Minister of Malaysia. They will review progress under the India-Malaysia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, especially in priority areas of cooperation such as trade, investments, defense, security, semiconductors, digital technologies, renewable energy, education, healthcare, and people-to-people exchanges.
The 10th meeting of the India-Malaysia CEOs Forum will also take place in Kuala Lumpur. Prime Minister will interact with leading Malaysian CEOs from key sectors. Malaysia is India's third largest trading partner in ASEAN, with bilateral trade valued at around $20 billion.
On the investment front, our engagement is strong and is growing steadily. Major Malaysian investors like Petronas, Khazanah, IHH Healthcare, IJM Corporation, United Engineers, UEM, etc. have a strong presence in India, while over 200 Indian companies, including 61 joint ventures and 3 Indian PSUs, including those in IT and ITES, manufacturing, construction, and pharmaceuticals, are actively operating in Malaysia.
Digital cooperation and semiconductors will be a key highlight of the visit.
The NPCI is set to sign an agreement with PayNet during the course of the visit. So that will be one of the outcomes expected from the visit. We are in the process of establishing a multi-layered collaboration arrangement through a G2G MOU, semiconductor, industry-led collaborations, and also R&D, both in terms of setting up fabrication centers, also assembly testing centers, etc. Our companies are also interested in collaborating with Malaysia on that.
Prime Minister will also interact with members of the Indian community in Malaysia. At 2.9 million, the Indian diaspora is among the largest overseas and is all set to welcome the Indian Prime Minister.
We are performing Kathak dance, so we are very excited. In fact, we are feeling very proud as a Malaysian to invite him and showing the Indian dance form to him, presenting it. It's a big opportunity for us, so we are very happy.
I think we are very excited to show the unity that we have here and the connection from cultural viewpoint with India, and it's exciting that the Prime Minister itself is coming here to witness it.
We are going to be performing different dance forms, so you can see Odissi, Bharatnatyam, Kathak. We are the Kathak group, and we're going to all perform together on a singular song, showing the different variations that we have in the Indian culture, how different dance forms come together to form this beautiful united country called India. We are very excited to welcome Mr. Narendra Modi, and I hope you like the performance.
This visit underlines India's strong commitment to Malaysia, a key partner in India's Act East policy, Vision Mahasagar, as well as a very important partner in India's broader vision of the Indo-Pacific. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's this visit to Malaysia will not only deepen cooperation in traditional areas, but also new and emerging areas of cooperation, and will also pave way for future cooperation between both the nations. With camera person Vinay and my colleague Shailendra Mishra, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
And DD India correspondent Meghna Dev now joins us live from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Meghna, good morning. In a short while from now, Prime Minister would be taking his flight to Kuala Lumpur for a two-day visit to Malaysia. Can you just take us through broadly the key expectations from Prime Minister's visit?
Yes, Shubhendu, in just some time from now, Prime Minister would be leaving to come here to Kuala Lumpur from New Delhi. Very importantly, there are several things on the agenda. We also had a special briefing of the Ministry of External Affairs actually telling us about what are the diverse sectors that are going to be discussed this time when both the leaders will be meeting. First, when we actually see that there has been a lot of anticipation for the ITGA, that is the ASEAN-India Trades and Good Agreement, which was expected to be finalized by the end of 2025.
Meghna, I'll interrupt you for a moment. Now we bring you visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi just boarding his flight now, flight to Kuala Lumpur for a two-day visit to Malaysia. There, those visuals came in just a short while ago. Prime Minister Narendra Modi boarding his flight to Kuala Lumpur, capital of Malaysia. It's going to be a two-day visit, taking forward the close ties between India and Malaysia. The two countries share a bilateral relationship which has been elevated to comprehensive strategic partnership. This happened in 2024. And taking forward the ties, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to visit Malaysia for a two-day official visit. Those visuals of Prime Minister boarding his flight just a short while ago from New Delhi to begin his two-day visit to Malaysia. He'll be reaching Malaysia later this afternoon and take forward engagement with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim of Malaysia. During the visit, the two Prime Ministers will interact with members of the Indian community, the industry, business representatives. There is the 10th India-Malaysia CEO Forum also scheduled during Prime Minister's visit, taking forward the close economic and business ties between the two countries. As our correspondent was mentioning, economic ties, an important aspect of Prime Minister's visit to Malaysia, taking forward the vision of Act East. India and Malaysia ties have been elevated to comprehensive strategic partnership a couple of years back. India and Malaysia share long-standing bonds of friendship based on historical, civilizational and cultural ties. The relationship is further strengthened by the presence of strong 2.9 million Indian diaspora in Malaysia, is the third largest in the world in terms of its size, and those visuals of Prime Minister embarking on a two-day visit to Malaysia, boarding his flight and exchanging greetings while boarding his flight. And I again connect with our correspondent Meghna, who is present in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Meghna, we're looking at those visuals of Prime Minister just boarding his flight. You were taking us through the key expectations of Prime Minister's visit. Please continue.
Yes, Shubhendu, as I told you that ITIGA is going to be something important that will be discussed between both the leaders. Important agenda on the table because India's trade with ASEAN is continuously growing. Malaysia, for that matter, being our third largest trading partner in the ASEAN, with Singapore being the first. We definitely have a lot more potential. Second, when we actually see that the semiconductors sector has a lot of promise, we have seen that, there have been collaborations between IIT Madras and the ASEM, which is the semiconductor body here in Malaysia. There are many companies which are interested. Now, we also do see that semiconductors is a large part of what exports Malaysia does. About 30% of Malaysia's exports are in the semiconductors and allied sectors. Malaysia has about 30-40 years of experience in this sector. And with, the current announcement of the Semiconductor 2.0 in the budget, we definitely see that India is very keen on accelerating its semiconductor mission, bringing in more companies, bringing in more investments, and also upskilling of professionals. So that is going to be an important aspect. There is also an MOU which is expected to be signed in the semiconductor sector. Besides that, digital infrastructure, DPI, is something that, when Malaysian Prime Minister was in India, there was this India-Malaysia Digital Council that was formed. This time around, it is expected that NPCI will be signing an MOU with PayNet, in terms of digital payments. So that is going to be an important, aspect of this visit. Besides that, disaster management, tourism, and other sectors, especially when we are talking about tourism, we did see that in 2025, 1.4 million Indian tourists came to Malaysia. Obviously, there are, Malaysia is a very accessible location. There are no visa hassles. There is, it's very easy for Indian tourists to come. It is affordable. It is very welcoming. Culturally, also, there is, the environment is such that Indian tourists feel feel at home. Most of the times in different places, the Indian diaspora here is huge. So it definitely is one of very friendly holiday destinations that Malaysia has come up with. This year, it's Visit Malaysia 2026 that Malaysia is promoting, and especially tapping Indian outbound travel, because when we actually look at the numbers, India's outbound travel numbers continuously are growing.
Right,
and
we'll talk about those figures.
We'll
talk about those figures, Meghna. But let's first take a look at what the Prime Minister has said in his departure statement while embarking on a two-day visit to Malaysia. And on your screen, we're also showing you the highlights, embarking on a visit to Malaysia at the invitation of Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. Prime Minister says the historic ties between India and Malaysia have seen steadfast progress in recent years. He says, I look forward to my discussions with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim and further enhancing our comprehensive strategic partnership. We will aim to deepen our defence and security ties, enhance our economic and innovation partnership, and expand our collaboration into new domains. I'm also eager to meet the Indian community in Malaysia, numbering nearly 3 million. They represent one of the largest Indian diaspora in the world. Their immense contribution to Malaysia's progress and their role as a living bridge between our two nations provides a strong foundation to our historic friendship. Those are some of the key points that you can see on your screens of Prime Minister's departure statement. Meghna, coming back to you, of the points that Prime Minister mentioned, one of the aspects is a strong presence of Indian diaspora, nearly 3 million, a sort of living bridge, as Prime Minister often calls them, between India and Malaysia. How are they looking forward to welcoming Prime Minister?
Yes, this strong diaspora is not only, the diaspora which is here since one generation, two generations. There are many people of Indian origin. There are NRIs which contribute to this, about 3 million of people from the, Indian origin. We also do see that, here the most of the people who have come here have come here from 4 generations, 5 generations, and they actually came here long back. So when they actually express that when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is coming here, it means a lot to them. It means a lot to them in terms of it's something that someone's come from home. So people are very excited. We will see a huge community event today, which the Indian community is preparing to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There's a lot of contribution also in terms of IT professionals, engineering professionals, and in these sectors specifically of the Indian community here. What we also see is that most of the Indian community comprise of Tamil Indians. So when we actually see there are many Tamil schools, Tamil radio, Tamil newspapers also, temples. So a lot of things we have seen very relatable to the Indian community, just because it is so huge in number, and that is the reason that they are actively contributing to the Malaysian economy as well, and they also want to forge stronger relationship, business relationship for that matter, with Indian companies. So that is also what the people of Indian origin who are living here, doing businesses here, are expecting out of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, that they will also be able to tap into India's growth story, and also grow their own business, just because India is continuously growing, is a huge market for so many commodities, goods, and services. We definitely do see that there is a lot of interest in Malaysian businesses, especially those businessmen who are of Indian origin, to tap into the potential that India has and to forge collaborations. So this is something also what people have been
Right.
telling us. Besides that, when we're talking about the cultural aspect, Shubhendu, the ICCR is doing a lot of work here. There are many people who are trained in classical dance, many people who are learning Tamil, many people who are doing yoga. We have been showing you stories in the past 2 days of how Indian ancient knowledge as yoga, traditional medicine, is taking over Malaysia and is becoming extremely popular when we are actually talking about Malaysia. For that matter, Kuala Lumpur's very modern lifestyle. This is something that the ancient practices and wisdom brings to Malaysia, Indian practices bring to Malaysia. So that's how they feel connected, because we have been going to yoga studios here as well, and they have said that they have been knowing about yoga since past 2 decades, but in the last 1 decade, the kind of importance yoga has gained with the International Day of Yoga being celebrated, it being marketed, advertised,
Right.
the benefits being advertised on such a large scale. That is how they have adapted yoga into their lifestyles. There are also traditional medicine practices that are going on here,
Okay.
especially there are many people who are of Indian origin but have their roots in Tamil Nadu. They have also contributed a lot to the traditional medicine practice here. So definitely a lot that the Indian diaspora has contributed to Malaysia, and also very eagerly waiting for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival, so that they can actually feel connected to the bridge, to that one side of that bridge that they left behind when they had come here in Malaysia.
Okay, Meghna there, good day with your coverage of Prime Minister's visit. We'll keep coming back for more. We're heading for a short break. There's more coming up. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. US President Donald Trump on Friday said Washington held, he called, very good talks with Iran after two sides held an indirect dialogue in Oman. Talking to media on board Air Force One, Trump described the discussion as very good and said that more negotiations were planned early next week. Meanwhile, Iran on its part said it is expected to hold more negotiations with the United States, hailing a positive atmosphere during a day of talks in Oman. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, who led Iran's delegation in Muscat, said talks focused exclusively on Iranian nuclear program. US President Trump hinted out at peaceful talks going to end the growing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. On Friday, Trump said very good talks were ongoing regarding Russia's conflict in Ukraine and added, without elaborating, that something could be happening as a result of the negotiations. Trump had vowed to end the conflict that began in February of 2022, but more than a year into his second term, Trump's promise has remained unfulfilled. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, said delegations from the US, Ukraine, and Russia had agreed to an exchange of 314 prisoners of war. As Kiev continues to face severe heating shortages amid conflict with Russia, Ukraine was accelerating repairs to its damaged energy infrastructure and reviewing air defense deployments. In his daily video address, President Zelensky of Ukraine stressed there was no time for delays in restoring power and heating, thanking repair crews and utility workers for speeding up efforts across the country. He said more than 1,100 buildings in the capital Kiev remained without heating, calling for additional assistance for residents affected by the outages. Zelensky also announced upcoming personnel changes within Ukraine's Air Force, particularly in units responsible for defending against Russian drones. He said small-scale air defense systems needed to operate more effectively, adding that successful defensive practices in some regions should be expanded nationwide. The European Commission has proposed a new package of sanctions against Russia, including a full ban of maritime services for Russian oil exports. The new package of sanctions, the 20th since Russia-Ukraine conflict began almost 4 years ago, are meant to push Russia into serious peace negotiations. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the new sanctions would also include a new import ban on metals, chemicals and critical minerals not yet under sanctions, and restrict even more European exports to Russia. Moving on, Venezuela's National Assembly President Jorge Rodriguez announced that hundreds of prisoners jailed for political protest could be freed as early as next Tuesday, following the final approval of a new amnesty law. Rodriguez informed the families of detainees that law had already passed its first vote and would receive final approval on Tuesday, with releases beginning immediately. Rodriguez said unanimously approved amnesty bill could free hundreds of people. The releases may help reduce tensions with the international community, especially the Trump administration, which had supported earlier prisoner releases. Let's turn to sports. India begins their ICC Men's T20 World Cup title defence today with the Group A clash against the US at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. With unmatched batting depth, enviable all-round resources and spinners in their prime, India have everything in their arsenal to become the first nation to win the consecutive T20 World Cups and claim the trophy on home soil. Captain Suryakumar Yadav's side are coming on back of a commanding 4-1 series victory over New Zealand, boasting of the best win percentage among the top 10 teams since 2024 T20 World Cup triumph in Barbados. Meanwhile, the US, known for springing surprises, will be looking to secure a huge upset win to kick off their campaign on a strong note. With the aim of creating a positive environment for development of sports and athletes in the country in view of the 2036 Olympics, a national conference on physical education and sports science was organized in Delhi. The two-day conference, organized by Physical Education Federation of India in collaboration with Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, focuses on India's vision for Olympics 2036. Panelists shared their views on current status of sports in India and discussed the roadmap for building a strong foundation and its development for mega sporting events like the Olympics in the coming years. On the occasion, India's Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia extended his best wishes to the athletes and emphasized the need to build a sports ecosystem in the country that provides players with golden opportunities to engage in sports.
Olympics. And 2036 Olympic is very important for us, though we have still all the world, including India, in bidding stage. But we at least consider ourselves a strong contender. And if we get it, then everything will be changed, not only sport, even Indian social culture, social life, and everything will be changed through 2036 Olympics.
2036 में 10 साल बाद 11 साल बाद जब ओलंपिक इंडिया में हम लोग होस्ट करते हैं तो आज जो बच्चा 9 साल का है, 7 साल का है, 10 साल का है, 9 से 14 साल वाले बच्चे 10 साल बाद ओलंपिक में मेडल लेके आएंगे। अब वो 9 से 14 साल का बच्चा किसके पास है? एक स्कूल में। उस स्कूल को कौन देख रहा है? स्पोर्ट्स में फिजिकल एजुकेशन टीचर देख रहा है। कोई टॉप्स की स्कीम या हम हाई परफॉर्मेंस तो देख नहीं रहे, नेशनल सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस तो देख नहीं रहे। तो हमको ये देखना होगा कि वो पीई टीचर आज इक्विप हो, आज उसको संसाधन मिले, आज उसको स्पोर्ट्स साइंस मिले, तभी तो वो आगे सिखा पाएगा उन लोगों को। निश्चित रूप से आगे आने वाले 2036 ओलंपिक में फिजिकल एजुकेशन टीचर्स की एक महती भूमिका रहेगी और पेपी एक निर्णायक रोल अदा करेगी।
That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan this QR code on your screen and download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.